So I'm just done. I'm done with. I got a call last night. He said, "Go look at the bill. Go look at the bill that this Congress just passed. This spending bill that Republicans and Democrats voted on. Only a few people didn't. And when we're in such disarray as a country and upheaval, and we have seen so much wasteful and abuse, we still decide to spend way too much money and give our money away. I'm so sick of paying taxes to then feel like we have to be robbed of being able to buy the things that we want in order for our government to give our money away." He said, "Just look at it." So he sent me a link to this big article that went really in depth on this bill. We're going to discuss, just highlight some of the things during that call that I talked about. It'll blow your mind at what and how you're not getting represented whatsoever. Did you know that they didn't even pass the Voter ID Act? They didn't want to bust the filibuster, so they chose to keep it out of this bill. 80% of people in America, which is 95% Republican, and they said even down to 65 to 70% of Democrats want this bill, voter ID, for the safety of any election, for anyone to win it fair. And yet your Republicans couldn't even do that. We're going to discuss both of those things, even down to the fact that we have people in media saying, why in the world did the Republicans drop the ball for its own people to not pass the Voter ID Act? Overwhelmingly, we are not supported whatsoever, and we have this is what you have. You have taxation without representation. That, if you remember, that was kind of like a Boston Tea Party moment, and we're right there right now. It's ridiculous. We're going to hear from Glenn Beck and what he stated about the Republicans, how he's done with them. I mean, like I said, I'm just done with these Republicans. I'm so done with Senate Congress. I don't even want to see them. I don't want to see them on screen because they're wasting our money and stealing our money. Wait till you hear what Nancy Pelosi made a trade last month that saved her hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, we have so much. And all the while, I mean, like for instance, Sean Ryan has to do an immediate release because he has people coming after him because he's trying to expose people doing bad things to the youngest among us. So it's amazing to me, our focus is always on something else instead of actually the people of America who pay the taxes, who vote for these people in office, and somehow we're the ones that always get shafted. We're going to discuss all this and so much more. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here. So humbled by your presence and coming back each and every day to watch our content. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, it was such a very good video. It got ghosted and suppressed like no one could even thought. And it was all because we speak truth. Go check that video out if you haven't. And then let's dive into today's video because these topics are just huge because it impacts you and your money. Now, we're going through tax season. You know, you've paid your property tax if you own homes, if you own land, and then now you have to pay income tax on top of all the other taxes you've paid. Well, let's just go over what your Congress just passed into law and Trump signed. Again, I think it's one of those things that I don't care what Trump tries to do, he can't win these battles. He's going to have to sign it. He's going to have to go along with it because they're going to pass what he wants only if he does what they want. Let's just go over a few of these details because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This came out from Wall Street Apes. Republican Senate leader John Thune now says that he will not put the SAVE Act into this bill because he's scared of the ramifications of the filibuster. So what he's basically stating is, I'm going to give the middle finger to all Republicans and benefit the Democrats in the coming future. That's what he just said. He said, I'm voting with the Democrats basically to not get rid of the filibuster. Now, if you remember, Harry Reid got rid of the filibuster so many other times in history, and I'm going to be honest with you. Just watch, just bookmark this. When Democrats get back in power and they want to pass something, they will get rid of the filibuster. Watch, mark my words. But you have a weak leader with John Thune, and he's choosing to side with the Democrats over his own party. Listen to this. Almost 90% of Americans support and require voter ID for voting. This is something that Democrats and Republicans want. It says that white people in America want 85% of them want voter ID. Latinos, 82% want voter ID. Even African Americans want 80% wants voter ID. What basically we're seeing is people want integrity with the elections. Because if you're voting left or right, no matter how you're voting, you want who you vote for to actually have integrity, and you want them to win on the merits of what a democracy stands for. So what this represents, just hear me out. You have the majority of Americans wanting one thing, and your Congress on both sides of the aisle chose to vote against it. So that's called, I'm getting taxed with no representation. Taxation without representation. I should not pay taxes this year. You should not pay taxes this year. You know what though? If we chose not to pay, now we can give all this money away, we can see all this fraud. If me as a citizen chose not to pay literally a few $100, they would come and arrest me and actually send me to jail and charge me with some kind of misdemeanor or felony, depending on the amount. But we can give all the money away in this bill to waste, fraud, and abuse, and knowingly give it to people who don't like us. Wait till you hear who we're giving it to. Before we do, I want you to listen to what Jamath Palihapitiya said. He said, when election leaders will not pass bills supported by the overwhelming majority, it proves that America is a system that is completely broken. It's so true. I want you to listen to this, how crazy this is. Marna Fall shared this. It says that CEOs are building bunkers ahead of mass unemployment waves. Not only are we seeing the fall of Congress and the failures of so many people because the letdown of our government, along with the fact of AI coming alongside and taking people's jobs, we're going to see an unrest like we've never seen. And again, all of it's going to be, you can't trust anybody anymore because we have politicians that won't even pass bills that Americans want. Thomas Massie exposed this. Now, again, I'm not the biggest Thomas Massie fan. I believe that he is a contrarian. Now, I do believe he has some great points, but I want you to listen to what he stated. We just sent $3.8 billion to Israel, which, again, I'm an Israel supporter, but do they really need more money after we've sent so much money to them? They are doing fine on their own. Again, support them, but I don't believe they need our taxes to do that because ultimately we're the ones that need the money. $1.5 billion to Egypt. Now, Egypt built this monster fence. Egypt doesn't take in all these refugees from the Palestine area. Egypt's got their own things going on, and we gave them more money for what? They are so filthy rich. 2.1 to Jordan. Why do we give money to Jordan? $5 billion for refugee, cash, healthcare, and daycare. So for all those Republicans that told you they're going to vote and help the integrity of Americans and make sure the money of taxation goes to Americans' benefit, they lied to you because $5 billion is going to refugees that we have here, like the Somali refugees, like the Afghanistan refugees, like all the people that we've brought into this country, the Venezuelans, all these people, Haitians, they get $5 billion of cash, healthcare, and daycare. While you're struggling to pay for your healthcare and your daycare and have money in your pocket, they're getting money to go to Walmart. They're getting money to pay for their daycare. They're getting money to sit at home. $700 million went to foreign countries to fight HIV/AIDS. How many times have we seen money go to Africa for this thing, for malaria or HIV and all this, and all we realize is it was just a fraudulent, it never went to the people. They said less than 10% of this money actually goes to those people. So where's all the other money go? Laundered. $315 million for the CIA propaganda arm. So we got to give money to the CIA to propagandize its own people in America. I mean, I'm so done with that. I don't understand why in the world we give money to our own government. They tax us to then give money to an intel agency to give us false information and propaganda to make us feel one way or the other. That is 1984 George Orwell kind of stuff right there. That is New World Order. That is dangerous, what we're doing to the people of America. But we have kill switches in our vehicles now. We have no FISA warranties where we fix the spying issues. There's no CBD ban. So, on top of that, they're going to save your money and keep the dollar safe. No, they didn't even put a CBD ban in here. So meaning there can still be a fact of new money coming, just like I've told you way before. And of course, no SAVE Act was in this bill. Republicans have the House, they have the Senate, they can do the filibuster, they have the presidency. And yet, they passed everything that you didn't want and passed everything that they personally wanted because it was a way that they can make money. It's so crazy. Congress did not represent its people because 83% want voter safety and citizens voting only. Whew, I gotta take a breather for a second. Now, while you're losing all that money from all the other stuff that the government cost, this is one good thing about our sponsor. Today's sponsor is Chapter. Chapter comes alongside you if you are 65 and older and saves you money. The average person that uses Chapter to help them through understanding Medicare, having an advisory role to say what's best for me, saves $1,100 a year. So if you are wanting to save money because your government keeps taxing you more and because your groceries keep going up and you feel like you're burdened, then let this sponsor come alongside you. They're not wanting your money. They actually come and they tell you how to save money. Now, there's not a lot of sponsors that do that and a lot of businesses that do that, but they're coming to help you. Call this number below. Allow them to hear about your coverage. If all of a sudden your coverage is the best they've got or the best that Medicare offers and the parts are the best, they're going to tell you. But for the majority of Americans, they save money every time they call Chapter. The thing is this, if you want to make sure you're sleeping at night knowing you're not getting ripped off by what you have in your Medicare expenditures and your supplements and your parts, let them help you. Call Chapter today. The link is in the description. It's all about saving money because right now we see that there's a lot of people wasting our money. Why don't we find someone who's willing to save it? Check with Chapter today. They will not let you down. This is from Kat Kamek, a congressman from Florida. She said, instead of getting the SAVE Act, we instead added more funding for DI, gender surgeries, and on minors, by the way, and more NGOs. It says we're funding facilities in Eastern Maine healthcare systems to basically allow for minors to get these surgeries. We're also providing for health services for late-term abortions. We're also providing for children's hospitals to do more trans surgeries. We're also providing more pediatric gender-affirming cares in other hospitals, like Rady's Children's Hospital. So your Congress, your Republicans, they're going to come home and they're going to lie to you, telling you that they passed this great bill to keep the government from shutting down, and all the while it was absolute waste and completely against our morals and values. This is why America is broken. This is why, like Chamath said, when they vote against you and ultimately take your money and still rob you blind and still tax you for it, then we are living in a broken system that will cause upheaval. There's no way. That's why Morgan Fall says that there's billionaires building bunkers because they know it's getting close. There's multimillionaires trying to hunker down and build fencing and stockpile. Why is billionaires and millionaires stockpiling when they can buy anything in the world? You know why? Because they see the writing on the wall. You allow Bitcoin to fall, you allow all this fraud and waste and the Epstein stuff not to actually get prosecuted, you're going to see marches in the streets from both sides and you're going to see civil upheaval. That's why they're building bunkers. That's why they're actually stockpiling and prepping. Because they know it's getting serious. Sam Altman, OpenAI, built a bunker and stockpiled it. Mark Zuckerberg built a bunker, a multi-million-dollar bunker, stockpiled. Jeff Bezos is buying a whole community basically in Miami, a bunch of houses in one very, very high-end area that's got extreme security protocols, and he's buying all those houses in that area. Bill Gates and him both have yachts that can be self-serving and live on the sea for infinity. I mean, it does not need to actually come back home. Why do you think these people are doing it? Because they see the writing on the wall, people. And while we're the ones getting robbed by our own government. Mike Johnson and John Thune, how in the world can these Congress and politicians sleep at night? Don't let your politician come back to your state, in your city, in your town, and tell you how good they've done for you, because they're lying through their teeth. They are lying through their teeth. Now I want to go what Glenn Beck said. By passing this one act, if we would have just passed this one act, the GOP would have saved the Republic. It would have rescued the actual Republican Party. If they fail, they would all fail. 80% of all Americans wanted this. You need ID to vote and everything. He said if we did that, the Republican Party would actually probably be more prosperous. The Republican Party would actually have more of a true majority, and the filibuster wouldn't even worry. It said that the Republicans actually could do what they wanted. But see, here's the thing. What did I always tell you? Republicans and the rhinos and the establishment, even the Democrats, they want to play between the 40s. They all want to scratch each other's back and make loads of money off the American people. For instance, Nancy Pelosi. So this is why she could care less about the people in California. She's there because she's making loads of money too. Last month, Representative Nancy Pelosi disclosed a sale of $500,000 worth of PayPal stocks. Now, she sold when it made a lot of money, no losses to the company, no big deal. It was one of those things that she turned around and made a good profit. And you're like, okay, well, I mean, people do that all the time. Came out just a day or two ago that PayPal went down 20% suddenly after that. See, She doesn't care about the people that she's, quote, representing. She cares about the information she's getting. These Republicans are the same way. They want to play like they're fighting for you, and all they're doing is they're playing a game of fake sports or football. It's like flag football for Congress. They'll go and they'll say, oh, we're fighting the Democrats. And all the while they're going to have drinks after work, laughing about how they're ripping you to pieces. Because the Republicans could have actually done something and actually could have passed the SAVE Act, actually could have done all this stuff that we wanted, and yet not one thing in this bill actually benefits you on the conservative side. Every bit of it is the same status quo of bureaucracy ripping you to pieces. Now, while that's happening, Sean Ryan has to do an immediate release yesterday because people are coming at him with a cease and desist because he's trying to protect Christian families at a minor's camp. Now, you can go back and watch the whole episode. I watched the whole episode of what they did. Now, I don't know about this. I'm a Christian. I don't know about this Christian camp. I've always heard about it in Missouri, but never actually knew about it. And all of a sudden, you start hearing these horror stories. One thing I've realized is no matter where you're at, humans will let you down, even in circles of Christianity or religion or conservatism, because people are evil. I'm sorry. The only thing that makes us good is Jesus. So he's exposing this, and he gets a cease and desist letter. Now, this is also another cease and desist letter he got just a few weeks ago from a congressman from Texas, again, calling him out on some of this insider trading. Have you heard about Whistling Diesel? He's a YouTuber, big YouTuber, blows up a lot of stuff. I mean, just a very guy channel. Tennessee's coming after him because of a $30,000 tax bill on a car that he bought. Paid cash for it, lives in Tennessee, pays taxes, pays higher taxes than probably the majority of people in Tennessee because he's a very famous, influential YouTuber. Why is our government going after people like Sean Ryan or Whistling Diesel or the conservatives and not going after all the other bad players? It's amazing. You know, the FBI, there was an FBI informant that was whistleblowing to James O'Keefe, stating that he said, you know, no matter how much we expose in Minnesota, he said, we won't arrest one of them. He said, we won't arrest anybody of power. And he didn't know he was being filmed. He said, yeah, we'll bust a few of the young guys and the little guys and the people who are just actually at the very end of the totem pole. He said, but when it comes down to it, all the money that they actually changed hands and all the dirtiness, the sleaziness, he said, we won't get none of them. He said, because that's how the game is played. The system is broken. We're doing cease and desist letters to YouTubers. We're trying to arrest YouTubers for not paying $30,000, but we have Somalis stealing billions of dollars under Tim Walz and under Elon Omar. We have California who is literally tied up in so much waste, fraud, and abuse, and yet nothing happens. But they're coming after people who have a $30,000 tax bill because he chose to buy the car in Montana to save on taxes because he's already overtaxed in Tennessee. See, Tennessee is supposed to be a conservative state like Mississippi and all the rest. Do you know in Mississippi they were trying to pass a parental rights bill to take over homeschooling? In a conservative state. You know why that is? Because conservatives are not willing to stand up against the people who call themselves conservatives, and really they're not representing us whatsoever. Kind of like what's happening in Congress right now. See, we tend to say, well, if they have an R behind their name, they're doing something for us. That is a lie from the pit of hell. What they're doing is ripping you to pieces. I had a congressman, very wealthy congressman, multi-million-dollar congressman, tell me this. He was from a few years back. He's not in Congress anymore. Here's his exact words. He said, I was going to switch the party, my party affiliation. He said, because I was a blue dog Democrat. He said, so basically I was going to a Republican because they represented me more. He said, I had a very influential Republican call me. He said, actually, in the White House, so during that time. He said, his words to me were, I can have you do so much more damage and do so good for me with that D behind your name than you'll ever do with the R behind your name. He said, because then I could use you to switch and swing and do the things I need done. Made him filthy rich, and he came out and actually told me that. Honest truth. He said, it had nothing to do with the D or R behind my name. He said it had to do with how they can manipulate you. And if they can manipulate you, you're going to make a crud load of money. He said, on top of that, you're going to vote what they want and not what the people want. That's what's happening. You hear about Fetterman kind of going to the Republicans. You hear how, how these people are doing this and this people, these people are voting for this person. You know why John Thune's not doing the filibuster? Because there's a lot of money behind what they're doing right now. So I'm just done. I'm done with the Republican parties. I'm done with the R. I'm not saying I'm a Democrat because I'm not. I'm done with all these parties. I don't believe there's going to be a quote-unquote third party coming along. I don't believe there's a MAGA separation. I don't believe there's a Tea Party. I honestly believe all these terms are just enough to get us to vote for them to infiltrate and cause more problems for us as citizens of America. We're getting taxed, but not represented whatsoever. I'm done with the Republicans. I'm done with the Democrats. I'm done with the independents because they're just as party affiliated as most. I'm just done with all of it. We're in a broken system, and until we're willing to fix the system, and part of that would be voter ID. Why in the world would we vote against that? 80% of Americans, at least 80% of Americans, and they said actually for the Republicans and for the conservative Americans, it's like 90-something%. But 80% of the Americans want this. And yet, Democrats and Republicans will not pass it. You know why? Because they need the manipulation, one side or the other. They need the filibuster to play the game. It's all smoke and mirrors, guys. I'm done. That call, once I started realizing, he said, you need to look at this bill. And then all of a sudden I hear from a congressman, and I start looking and diving into this stuff. I'm just sick of it all. I'm so sick and tired of politics. And until we are willing to say they're not representing us, we'll keep voting for them. We will keep voting for them. I'm to a point where I know this sounds terrible, and most people will probably dog me out of it. I'm sick of going to the polls and voting and acting like something else is going to happen. Trump is doing, I actually like Trump, but he can't do anything when he has a Congress who is worthless. And that's exactly what's happening. Him and Bassett and all of them, they could do great things, but they still cannot do everything they need and fix this country because Congress. It's so sad. This bill just passed. So you're paying for all this stuff. Your dollars are going to pay for things that are not morally obligated, not values oriented, and is absolute depravity. You're paying for it as a Republican. This is not Obama and Biden doing it. Republicans are doing it. Sleazy politicians. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today. You better pray for our nation. We need it. We need revival. And sadly, the only thing that happens when a revival happens is usually humbling, or we learn to humble ourselves. One way or the other, both of those things could be hard for America, especially because we've been so comfortable. And now all we're doing is we know now we're exposed to all this stuff, fraud and all that, the files, all that, and then we're still paying towards this stuff. What it is we're okay with paying towards depravity. That's exactly what we're doing. We're condoning depravity. That's heartbreaking, so heartbreaking for me. Let me know your thoughts. God bless. Be free with me.